Boom, and here we go. The DIY badass, no, the DIY legend, as she likes to be called, Hollie Kitchens. What's going on, Hollie?
What's going on, Nick? Super excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about this before too. We do similar things, but there is like clear differentiators. And most people, and I'll just say this, a lot of people, not within our group, but that do similar things. It's like, we don't want to work with, we don't want to work with them. It's like we've referred people back and forth, and it's like I love working with people in our same field because you do things amazing that we don't really touch. So what I want to talk about today is what you do, Hollie, and how you're able to help agents.
Man, so there's just a slew of things that I'm very passionate about, and then helping it with the DIY Legend. It's more specifically like helping people who are either interested in kind of doing some stuff themselves, or maybe they don't have the funds available to go out and hire someone just yet. So it's just kind of helping them through with some like tips, tricks, and hacks, things like that, to help guide them through it. So as far as like real estate agents go, just helping them with pieces that like establish authority, maybe it's templates, it's tear sheets, tear sheets, but like white papers and things like that. So templates and things that. So just kind of help them, DIY it. So
Well, and I'll tell you what, I love tuning into yours because like you said, it's DIY, and I love how simple you make it. Well, you make it look, and it really is when you go to do it, right? And one of those simple hacks that you did the other day, I think it was bringing your friends over. Like if you have a page now, you're allowed to bring all your friends over immediately to that page, right?
Yes, 100%. So, I think right now people are really focused in on their like social media, their online presence. And I think that, with that, you obviously want to establish authority in, online. And, if you have a Facebook page, you guys know how hard it is to get likes because Facebook likes to make you pay to play. Facebook had created this, but they never really advertised their list. I've never seen it.
No, they don't want you to know. They want you to pay.
But it was crazy because, we all know 5,000 is like your cap amount of friends that Facebook will allow you to have.
Right.
And then from there you can turn on followers, but again, you don't get to see their stuff and, whatever.
Yeah.
So a way that Facebook has created kind of like hey, here's another solution. Is there's a certain method that you can go to a link, you click it, and I'll make sure to come back and post that little how-to on this video so you guys tuning in can listen in. But it's a simple, easy following method of just like going to a Facebook link and then creating your own public figure page so that all your friends who already know you, like you, and trust you are automatically added as likes on your public figure page. Now, that's also, it's not even just your friends, but you can also allow your pending friend request. You can allow your followers, all those. So like you can have not only just 5,000, but you can have 15,000, 20. How many followers you ever have on your personal page? Because we see a lot of people who are trying to get away from posting so much stuff on their personal page, and they want to turn around and post it more on like a professional page. So I think that's going to be an easy solution.
Man, that was awesome. I was watching. I'm like, geez, Hollie, like you're figuring all this out. And it's just amazing that it's like all you have to do is tune into what you have and you can stay up to date, which I think is amazing with like the real-time coaching. And I got another real-time coaching pro tip for everybody out there. If you're going live, put your Apple Watch to the side. Take it off, put it to the side, because I'll tell you what, it's like a habit. Every time I get it, I want to like look down. Every time you hear like you feel that vibration on your wrist, it's like a habit. So pro tip, you're going live, just take it off, put it to the side. It makes your life 10 times easier.
That's a great one. That's definitely eliminate all distractions.
Right. Eliminate distractions, feed your focus. I want to talk a little bit about your DIY legend. I want to talk about, I know we heard the story with Live with Leaders, which by the way, if you guys did not see Live with Leaders, you guys can get it right now at replay.livewithleaders.com. Get those 8 hours worth of amazing people like Hollie right here. But I love your story. I like starting back there. So for the people out there who don't know your story, how you got into podcasts and how you got this all started, can you give us like a brief rundown about like what sparked your interest and kind of built that fire in you?
So, growing up, we didn't have much as kids, and music was kind of obviously free on the radio. So music was just a huge impact on me, my siblings, my brother, my sisters, just all of us. So with that, music kind of carried on forever. Just always something that's been a big part of my life. Personally, I cannot sing a note. I cannot play. I am not musically, like, I am not somebody who can just publish music out. So a solution to that would have been obviously, podcasting, whatever. And I remember being a kid, I always wanted to be like a radio host, like on the DJs or whatever on there.
Yeah.
And, it was just crazy how it kind of all fell into play. I launched a boutique geared towards music lovers and just kind of looking for a way to publish content. We all know the power of content, and differentiate my shop from Amazon, from an e-commerce coach that had said, what are you doing different than Amazon? I'm like, So going through and interviewing these artists, at first I thought it would be a blog, which was a terrible idea because along with no music ability, I also am not very like a grammar, no details, all that. So my best friend had flew down because we had an interview with some of our childhood, rock stars that we loved. And then we were sitting at the table and I'm like, why don't we just co-host a podcast together? Yeah. And that's how it really got, born into everything, because it was just, I don't know, it was just the natural fit that just kind of took a little bit of pieces to play, to fit into it.
Right. No, and that is amazing too. And I think the biggest part about that is it was something you're already passionate about and you're rolling it out. I think a lot of times I see people wanting to make something because they think people might like it. And then your passion's not behind it. You're not authentic. And that's what people really buy into, especially if you're writing something, you can kind of get away with it a little more because you can write out the words and be very meticulous about it. But when they hear your voice, when they see you, if you're doing like the video, like video ones too, if they see you and you're not passionate about it, you'll stick out right away. Right. 100%. So I think that's why picking something that you're passionate about, that's crucial. So for agents that are out there, a lot of times we have a lot of agents that usually tune in here mostly. So with agents, I mean, where should we start? Where should we start when we're thinking about starting a podcast and getting that whole process underdone?
Well, I think people tend to overcomplicate and overthink podcasting. Yeah. They think it's like this, this big, expensive or super hard to do, which there's platforms out there like Anchor.fm, which is totally free. You can pull up the app from your phone, record an episode, and publish it there. Right. Obviously, your quality, you got to take in consideration like your quality of like the microphone and stuff, but that's another story. Right. Super easy. And I think a lot of agents, for one, they get, they get a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? They just get a little bit intrigued, or they get a little bit scared. Yeah. Intrigued by it, but then they're like, wait a minute, there's a lot that's got to go into it. I'm already busy together. And, once you get over that, get a clear understanding of how to launch a podcast, from there, you just figure out, like, why are you launching it? And it, a lot of people, it's funny because people are like, no one wants to hear about real estate. And you're absolutely right. Like, would you listen to a podcast about just real estate that's boring? No. Right. There's a way to make it get excited. Maybe it's your own kind of reality show, because all you agents out there, it is nothing. Real estate is, you don't have the same thing over and over again. There's always an adventure in real estate. Maybe it's a crazy showing, maybe it's a deal, maybe it's whatever it is. So just finding a way to kind of incorporate yourself as an authority figure, and then, pouring some passion into it, and then just finding a unique way to find, content to push out to people. Yeah. And I think, like you said too, it's the overthinking of it that holds most people back, and then this is where we came up with this concept. I think we came out there, we read it in a book. We're pushing it now. So good, better, best. Good is the best. You can sit there and make all the tweaks you want, make your background a little nicer, maybe switch your logo up a little bit, do all these different things, but how much better are you really making it? And at the same time too, how much better can you make something until you finally just say, I'm going to do it. Right. Because even with your podcast, and I see you have new backgrounds that you guys are always coming in with, you're constantly updating it. But what if you would have waited for your perfect background to come in? What if you would have waited for the microphone that you wanted, the sticker around your microphone, which is awesome, by the way. I'm getting ideas as we're doing this, just looking at what you guys have going on. But here's the thing. If I would have waited for you to get everything and be like, okay, what's Hollie doing and what's everybody else doing, and I'm going to make it perfect, I would have never got it done. I would still wouldn't be here, because I would be trying to make it better and better and better, striving for the best, which perfection, it's a myth. Let's be honest. Perfection is a myth. So it's just, is it good? Great. Let's roll it out and let's let our audience decide
what's good. Because I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've rolled something out and I'm like, man, this is going to be the best post ever. And it didn't do too good. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't even know if I should post this. And I post it and it blows up. So it's like letting your audience decide part of this too. So talking about the audience, let's talk about that. So like, how do you create content like for the specific audience, and how do you get that audience to view what you want to put out there?
So it's going through the avatar exercise. And of course, you guys might have heard avatar. It could also be your ideal buyer, your ICP, whatever it is you want to call it. But you're finding that perfect person that you're trying to reach. When we're putting out content, like right now, we're putting out this content intentionally, and it's going to reach a specific person that you have identified that would tune into Live with Leaders.
Right.
So going through and painting that picture, that perfect person, what are their hobbies? What are their interests? But I think more specifically, obviously you need all that, but then also what are their pain points? What problems do they currently have? How can you solve those problems? So I think when it comes to, attracting the audience with the right message, it's being very intentional with your messaging, because no one wants to hear about your problems. People want to hear about the solutions to their problems, right? Not a Hollie show. No one's going to be or look how cool I am.
Right.
No, I want to say, hey, you're a business owner that has little money to contribute to marketing.
Right.
Here are some DIY tips that you guys can implement that will help you look professional and sound, professional and look very presentable with the little to no money. Now that's something you might be interested in.
Right.
So I think it's like all about being intentional with the content that you put out. It's getting a clear indication of what's their problems and then your solutions. But then, they always want to have somebody who's been in their shoes. Like, you don't want to sit there and give them theories, or you don't want to talk about whatever. They'll feel so much more comfortable knowing that you have some kind of experience in that field in some way or another.
Yeah, so you hit a couple notes there. The last one I was thinking about is you want to be able to test things first and then bring it to like, hey, this works, this didn't, right? And sometimes sharing the things that don't work can help people out a lot too. Like one of the things we did is we literally broke my iMessage. I know that sounds crazy, but during one of our testing strategies for like our invite sequence, we literally, not metaphorically, we broke my iMessage, and I had to go to the Apple store. They had to contact Apple and get this all figured out. They're like, yeah, you did too much. I'm like, yeah, I did, didn't I? But now we know what the limits are. So we got to know like what the limits are, what they say, like the thresholds for things are. So now we can tell our clients, don't go above this unless you want your iMessage broken, right? But that's I think a big difference too. The people who are actually in the trenches doing it, and these real estate agents, we're constantly doing new things, trying new strategies, going new places, going to new parts of town, checking out new homes. So there's a lot of experiences we can share. And the other part that you said is it's talking to that voice in people's head. What's in it for me? Everybody has that voice, but are you speaking to it? Or are you speaking to your own voice? What's in it for me? I'm making a podcast about myself.
Yeah.
So it's making sure that you want to speak to your audience the right way, and you want to answer that voice. What's in it for me? Well, here's your answer. I'm solving your problems, right?
100%.
Yeah. So going through that, you said there's like an avatar exercise. Like what? So can you walk us through a little bit about that avatar exercise?
So it's almost like taking pen and paper or keyboard and, obviously Word or whatever you're into, but it's a process that you go through, and it was introduced to me by a digital marketer like back in 2014, and it's still very much relevant today, obviously, as I'm talking about it. Like literally any kind of project I do, any kind of, if it's a company or if it's a, just even a program, you have an avatar. There's an ideal person that's going through it. So it's an exercise going through, and you guys can just totally Google avatar exercise digital marketer.
Yeah.
Go through and you put a name to this person. They can be real, they can be imaginary, whatever it is, but it's almost bringing them to life. It's anything from their name, their age, their marital status, like what are their interests, what platforms are they on, to, like I said, the problems. And then also too, it's like, what are their objections I could potentially have? Like for me, for instance, the DIY Legend, a potential objection could be, oh, well, I don't have enough money to do that. So it's going through and justifying it. It's obviously playing offense than defense. Yeah. But it's getting yourself like a really clear picture of who you're producing content for and your programs for and your solutions, your services, all that stuff.
Yeah. And I think like what you said too, it can be imaginary, but what I found was the most beneficial to myself, at least when I'm going through this, is literally thinking of somebody like, who is my ideal client profile? Heck, who is a client that we have or somebody that I know personally, what do they like to do? What are their interests? And then all of a sudden you can come up with a good, almost like a formula, because then you get 2 or 3 people that you know, like these are my ideal clients I want to work with. You figure out where they like to go to eat, what they like to do, and you don't have to ask them. You can always check on their social media. That's what it's for, right? Like check on what they like to do, where they like to go. All of a sudden you start shooting content there. You go there yourself. You want to attract those type of people. So a lot of times, yes, we can create them, and we've created them too. But for me personally, going through that process and really getting into that mindset, it was thinking about, okay, this person's my ideal client. I know them pretty well. Let's try and figure it, like backtrack from there.
Yes. Yeah. So, within DIY Legend, I actually partnered up with Kat Rather. She's an OKC commercial.
Yes,
and
she is. Yeah.
She's added.
What's that, commercial and content, or commercial cocktails, or what?
Commercial cocktail hour.
Yes, it is. That's awesome. Yeah.
So we have a client that she takes them through an entire experience, and the entire experience is obviously her expertise, her knowledge, all this stuff. But then even post closing, we take on a client and then we take them through a rebranding process, which is what this client was. So it's a doggy daycare, and they are changing locations, and they're going to be luxury now. So obviously with luxury, you're going to need a new marketing strategy. You're going to need a new like rebrand, everything. So we went through a rebranding process. So within that rebranding process, we took them through the avatar exercise, the core value, mission statement, all that stuff. But it's funny, like you just said, they've been in business for, years. I think I want to say 15 years. So they already knew who they loved working with.
Right.
Took them to the avatar exercise. It was simple for them because they had one person in mind. I was like, this is the perfect person.
Yeah.
So it's already in business. Now, if you're just starting out, if you're just, just launching a podcast, obviously you don't have a listener just yet. Right. Go ahead and make something, based upon who you're trying to help. But it's perfect for people who are already been in business. And it's just getting that clear indication. It's like, okay, is whoever the name of the avatar is, say Rebecca.
Yeah.
It's something Rebecca would listen to. If the answer is no, then you might want to rethink what your content you're publishing, because you want to speak specifically to that group of people. Right.
No, I love that. And Hollie, I just got a great idea for something we got to talk about after this right here. So stay around for it. So I got something cooking up over here. You just sparked like 3 ideas, or like a big idea. So I'm like, oh, I need to talk to Hollie. That being said, Hollie, where can they go to get more information, to get this DIY Legend and everything that you're discussing here?
So it's super simple. HollieKitchens.com. That's the platform you can connect with me on social media. You can go DIY Legend, whatever. I know people have their preferred platforms, so I've just kind of put everything on HollieKitchens.com, so you guys can hop over there. I
love it. Super simple. Just like all her strategies that she tells people to use, guys. She keeps it simple. She keeps it implementable. Yes, she'll go into detail about if you want to get more into it, but she gives the simple to follow action steps. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend Hollie. All right, Hollie, thank you so much for coming here today. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you, Nick.